Hey, have you ever looked around one day and realized your circle got smaller, like you used to have all these people in your life, friends, classmates, extended family, acquaintances, and now you can count your close people on one hand, and honestly, you're okay with that. If that sounds familiar, you're not alone. And more importantly, you're not cold, you're not antisocial, and you're not broken. You're just growing up. Today, we're going to talk about something that doesn't get discussed enough: why mature people naturally start pulling back from certain relationships. Why the older and wiser you get, the more intentional you become about who gets your time, your energy, and your heart. And we're going to look at it from a real, honest human perspective, and even through the lens of Scripture. So let's get into it. Reason 1: your values change and not everyone grows with you. Think about who you were at 14, 15, 16. What did you care about? Fitting in, being liked, being invited to the right places, being seen with the right people. That was survival back then, socially speaking. But somewhere along the way, something shifts. You start caring less about being popular and more about being real. You want people around you who actually mean something. People who challenge you, support you, and tell you the truth even when it's uncomfortable. And when your values change, some people in your old circle just don't match anymore. It's not that they're bad people, it's that you're moving in a different direction. Like two roads that run alongside each other for a while and then quietly split apart. Reason 2: you realize energy is not unlimited. This one hits different when you really sit with it. When you're young, you have this endless emotional bandwidth. Drama doesn't drain you as much. You can fight with a friend, make up the next day, repeat the cycle, and keep going. But as you mature, you start to feel the weight of certain relationships. You notice that after spending time with some people, you feel depleted. Tired, irritated, empty. And after spending time with others, you feel energized, inspired, lighter. That awareness, that's maturity. Mature people start treating their emotional energy like a limited resource, because it is. You only have so much to give, and when you're pouring into draining relationships, you have less left for the things and people that actually matter: your purpose, your family, your mental health. So slowly, quietly, you start to pull back from the things that cost more than they give. Reason 3: self-awareness grows, and so does your ability to recognize toxic patterns. Here's a hard truth: sometimes we keep people in our lives not because they're good for us, but because we're used to them. Familiarity can be a trap. As you mature, you develop what I'd call emotional clarity. You start to see patterns you used to ignore. The friend who only calls when they need something. The family member who always leaves you feeling small. The relationship where you're always giving and rarely receiving. Younger, you might have made excuses for those people. Might have tried harder, bent over backward, kept hoping things would change. But mature you recognizes the pattern and chooses differently. This isn't bitterness, this is wisdom. Reason 4: you stop people pleasing, and that changes everything. Oh, this one is big, this one is so big. People pleasing is something a lot of us grow up doing without even realizing it. We keep the peace. We laugh at things that aren't funny to us. We stay in friendships out of obligation. We say yes when we mean no because we don't want anyone to be upset with us. And then one day you get tired of performing. Tired of shrinking yourself to fit into spaces that were never really meant for who you truly are. Maturity gives you the courage to say no, to set a boundary without a 5-paragraph explanation, to choose your own peace over someone else's comfort. And yes, some people won't like that. Some people will call you arrogant or distant or changed. And you know what? You have changed. That's the point. When you stop people pleasing, your circle naturally adjusts. The people who only liked you because you were easy to control, they fade. And the people who respect the real you, they stay. Reason 5: quality becomes more important than quantity. There's a season in life where having a big group feels like success. You measure your worth by how many people show up to your birthday, how many people text you, how many friends you can count. But maturity redefines what friendship actually means. One person who shows up at 2 a.m. when everything falls apart is worth more than 50 people who like your posts. One honest conversation with someone who truly knows you is worth more than 100 shallow ones. Mature people stop chasing numbers. They start deepening roots, and sometimes that means the circle gets smaller. Not because you failed at relationships, but because you finally understood what a real one looks like. Now I want to pause here and go to one of the most powerful verses about this entire journey. 1 Corinthians chapter 13, verse 11. The Paul writes, "When I was a child, I talked like a child, I thought like a child, I reasoned like a child. When I became a man, I put the ways of childhood behind me." Read that again slowly. He's not saying childhood was wrong. He's saying growth requires leaving certain things behind, certain ways of thinking, certain ways of relating, certain patterns of behavior, and that includes relationships that belong to an older version of you, connections that made sense when you were in a certain season, but no longer fit who God is calling you to become. This is not cruelty. This is not pride. This is the natural consequence of becoming. Paul doesn't apologize for it. He doesn't mourn it endlessly. He simply acknowledges it as part of what it means to grow into a mature human being. Now, and this is important, I want to be honest with you about something. Not every relationship you pull back from deserves to be cut off completely. Maturity also teaches you how to let relationships evolve rather than just end them. Some people don't need to be removed from your life, they just need to be repositioned. Maybe someone who was a close friend moves to an acquaintance. Maybe a family member you used to confide in becomes someone you love from a healthy distance. That's okay. The goal of maturity isn't isolation, it's intentionality. There's a difference between cutting off everyone and becoming a hermit, and simply being wise about who you let into your inner world. The Bible also calls us to love, to forgive, to pursue peace with all people as much as it depends on us. So yes, guard your heart, and also don't harden it. So let's bring this home. Why do people cut off others as they mature? Because their values shift, because their energy is finite, because they grow in self-awareness, because they stop performing for others' approval, because they'd rather have a few real connections than a crowd of hollow ones. And if you're in that season right now, if your circle is smaller than it used to be, if you've had to make some hard decisions about who gets access to you, I want you to hear this. You are not cold, you are not arrogant, you are not too good for people, you are growing. And growth, real growth, has always required letting go of habits, of mindsets, of seasons, and sometimes of people. As 1 Corinthians 13, verse 11 reminds us, when you become a man, when you become a woman, you put the ways of childhood behind you, not with cruelty, but with clarity. So keep growing, keep becoming. Keep choosing wisely, and trust that the people who are truly meant to be in your story, they'll still be there. Take care of yourselves, and I'll see you in the next one.